At the foot of a cold, mist-covered mountain lived a poor girl named Alara, who survived by collecting firewood and selling wild herbs in the nearby village. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Voice. Also, tell us in the comments where in the world are you watching from. Her clothes worn thin by years of hardship, but her heart still warm with kindness. And one early morning, while returning from the forest, she heard a faint groan near, a rocky path where tourists rarely walked, and there she found a man lying unconscious, his expensive coat torn, his face pale, and blood trickling from his forehead, clearly injured from a fall. And though fear crept into her chest, she knelt beside him without hesitation, using her scarf to stop the bleeding and whispering prayers. She had learned from her late mother, knowing she had little but her compassion, and with great effort she dragged him to her small wooden hut, near the mountain stream, a place with no electricity but filled with simple warmth, where she cleaned his wounds, fed him soup made from herbs and roots, and stayed awake through the night to make sure he breathed steadily. Unaware that the man she had saved was Adrian Blackwood, a billionaire known across continents for his ruthless business empire and unreachable wealth. And when Adrian finally opened his eyes days later, he was confused, expecting a hospital room, but instead seeing cracked wooden walls and a girl sleeping by the fire with exhaustion etched on her face. And as he slowly recovered, Alara never once asked who he was or if he could repay her. She simply smiled and said, "You are safe now," words he had not heard in years. And during those days, Adrian observed her life of struggle, how she skipped meals to save food, how she gave half her earnings to an elderly neighbor, and how she laughed despite owning almost nothing. And something inside him began to shift, because no one had ever cared for him without wanting something in return. And when his private rescue team finally found him through satellite tracking, he watched Alara panic, thinking she had done something wrong. But instead, the men bowed in respect, calling him Sir, revealing his true identity, and Alara stood frozen, shocked that the man she had saved with bare hands owned more money than she could imagine. And before leaving, Adrian pressed a simple thank you into her palm, his eyes lingering with unspoken gratitude. And weeks passed as Alara returned to her harsh routine, believing their worlds would never meet again. Until one afternoon, black vehicles climbed the mountain road bringing supplies, doctors, and builders. And Adrian stepped out not as a powerful tycoon, but as a man transformed, announcing that the land would be developed into a community center, school, and clinic with Alara as its guardian and manager, refusing to let her remain invisible any longer. And when she protested, he said softly, "You saved my life when I was nothing but a stranger. Let me honor that." And in months, her hut became a warm home. Her education was funded and her village flourished. But what mattered most was that Adrian never treated her as charity, only as the reason his heart learned humanity again, and Alara realized that kindness given in poverty can echo louder than wealth shouted from towers. And her simple act at the foot of the mountain changed not just her fate, but the soul of a man who had everything except compassion. And if this story touched your heart, then please like, share, and subscribe to my channel Kindness Voice for more powerful stories that prove kindness can change lives.